Today's video was not planned at all, but to cut right to the chase, we have some major news on Five Nights at Freddy's Plus. I've talked about FNAF Plus a lot at this point. I've analyzed every teaser, both videos and images. I talked about the teased gameplay when it came out. I did a little theory. Well, now we have an official Steam page for the release of FNAF Plus. I'm so excited, but also just in awe. 8 years ago, I saw the original Five Nights at Freddy's by Scott Cawthon on Steam, and as we can see now, it completely changed my path in life. And now I'm seeing this recreation on Steam, and I'm getting really similar feelings. The graphics are stunning, it looks legitimately scary, and it's simply a beautiful yet gritty reimagining of a game that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Today we're going to go over everything that the Steam page currently has. That is the Steam wishlist trailer, every screenshot, and the description and general information. I'll probably throw in a couple predictions, but I would check out my last video on FNAF Plus, where I give my predictions, as well as what I would want to see personally. So first we're going to be looking at the trailer. This is a very obvious place to start because a game's trailer is often a possible buyer's first impression of the game. And in this case in particular, it's a FNAF game, and more importantly, a reimagining of the insanely iconic and significant original game. I'd argue there's a significant amount of pressure on this trailer. A lot of the trailer consists of the FNAF Plus Freddy model coming towards the screen with other footage being shown. The first 30 seconds is parts of the various video teasers that have been released, and I've spent a ridiculous amount of time on these videos already, so go check out my previous videos on FNAF Plus so I can skip over the first 30 seconds. Following the first 30 seconds, we get a look at the left side of the office. We already saw the full office in the development showcase that Fiznum posted back in June, but here we can see the minor detail of what it looks like before and after you flash the light. Then there's some video of one of the cameras, which I actually appreciate more than you might think. I remember seeing the ability to move the cameras in the development showcase, and I was just confused by how slow it was. The way it was shown just made it look like a really useless mechanic, but in this new clip, it's much faster. So although I was pretty confident this was the case already, this shows that you can move the cameras quickly, and hopefully that'll be a helpful mechanic during gameplay. Next is a shot of one of the hallways. I think we can skip over this. Next we get a little shot of the office until the camera flips up and we get a look at Foxy in Pirate's Cove. If you've been watching my previous videos on FNAF Plus, you know that I am of the belief that Foxy is going to be a pretty important figure in this game. Foxy's mechanic is also integral to the original FNAF's gameplay, but it's still quite simplistic, so I'm interested in seeing if Plus will be changing up how Foxy functions. This shot also just looks so nice, and I'm so excited to see more. After Pirate's Cove, we get a view of Chica on one of the cameras. There isn't a lot to analyze here, but once again, screens like this are just so special to me. You can still see that it's Five Nights at Freddy's 1. It hasn't lost that special feeling that the original has, but it's a new look, a better look. It's so clean, and Chica looks amazing, and I just can't wait to see screens like this while actually playing. Then there's just a shot of the show stage, but there's not exactly much to say. And now, Freddy is finished coming towards the screen. He makes a slight movement before the lights shut off, and you see nothing but his glowing red eyes. Then there is this absolutely stunning shot of the three main characters. I've talked about these models so many times, but this is so sharp and so clean, and I simply need to talk about it again. Freddy's design is simply perfect, and I refuse to listen to anyone that says otherwise. What makes the original Five Nights at Freddy's different and scarier than the others is mainly that it is the most realistic. And these new designs in Plus are more accurate to what the animatronics would have looked like in the real world. This shape of Freddy's head and body simply makes more sense than the original, and that's a good thing. And as far as Bonnie and Chica go, they just look amazing. Bonnie is absolutely terrifying, but doesn't overstep the boundaries of being a realistic animatronic, and I'd say the same goes for Chica, but Bonnie just freaks me out a bit more. Some people don't like that one of Chica's eyes is a bit broken because that isn't realistic, but I don't really see it that way. The character still looks presentable and functions properly, so this is actually a good way of representing the way Fazbear Entertainment does everything the cheap way and doesn't fix something unless it's deemed necessary. Chica is a little creepier with the broken eye, but if both eyes were perfect, it wouldn't make that much of a difference, so it makes sense to me that Fazbear Entertainment would leave it alone. I love these models, and I am genuinely thrilled to see them in action. After this shot, we get the Five Nights at Freddy's Plus logo. Alright, look, I like the symbol with the plus, but this text looks really off to me. I can't explain why. The font isn't weird, but the blood just looks so cheesy, and it just doesn't fit the gritty look of the game, even if it is blood, because it just makes me roll my eyes. But that's just me, it doesn't really matter. There's also a frame of Freddy really close to the screen at the very end, and I just don't really understand this. There's nothing interesting about this shot, and it's not scary, so this was just kind of disappointing at the very end. I was really hoping there would be a jump scare at the end, but a little thought-provoking teaser would have been cool as well. This frame is just boring, and I can't get myself to care when I see it. Overall, I think this trailer is okay. I personally get a lot of feeling from it because I'm a Day 1 FNAF fan, but if I'm being honest, it doesn't really make the game look interesting to someone seeing it for the first time. There aren't really any scary moments or showcases of gameplay, and all the footage shown from the first 30 seconds is meaningless unless you've already followed FNAF Plus up to this point. Again, I personally enjoy many moments of the trailer because I get to see the evolution of the first game in one of my favorite franchises. But, like I said, this should look appealing to someone that doesn't have that same history as me, and this doesn't really do that. The entirety of the first 30 seconds is meaningless. Then there are a few shots that are special to me, but don't say a lot about the game, and then you get to see the characters, which is kind of cool. I'll say it one more time, this is pretty fantastic from my perspective. But I've been interested in this game for around 2 years, and it's a part of a series that I've been interested in for 8 years. But I feel like if you didn't have that experience, and you looked at these shots despite it being high quality, it just wouldn't mean that much to you. However, of course, Five Nights at Freddy's is so massive, and this is coming after Security Breach, and is the next release of the initiative after Flumpty's 3 and Pop Goes Arcade, so I know for a fact this will be successful. But it would be amazing if this was able to reach people that aren't super dedicated to the FNAF space. Now we're going to look at the provided screenshots on the page. There are going to be a few that we're going to just skip over pretty quickly, because they're elements of the game that we've already seen, but there are some really cool things to look at in these screenshots. First one is just of the office. It makes sense to have this as the first one, but like I said, we've seen this plenty of times. It looks amazing, I like it. Moving on. The second is the image of Freddy with Bonnie and Chica by his side, and I absolutely adore this one. Most of you probably noticed that Freddy's positioning is the exact same as it was in the thumbnail for the original Five Nights at Freddy's from 2014. The difference is that Bonnie and Chica are there instead of endoskeletons, which is great because I've always thought this was a really dumb design decision, considering it was basically always going to be the promotional art of the game. Once again, this is just an amazing wave of nostalgia and the perfect kind of fan service. The third image is Bonnie staring directly into the camera of the dining hall. This reminds me of the first FNAF Plus video teaser where it all takes place from the footage of the same camera and it ends with Bonnie breaking it. In all honesty, I'm not a huge fan of the way Bonnie looks in this shot. It just doesn't really look like Bonnie, and it looks kind of weird, but that's just a feeling that I get. It's not much of a real critique. The fourth is just another image of the office, this time focusing on the right side. Once again, it looks great. However, Helpy looks really unsettling. Helpy is like the cutest character to ever exist, and I genuinely find him creepier than the puppet mask in this shot. Obviously, I love that the game is scary, but why'd you have to do my boy Helpy like that? In the fifth, we get a look at the characters on stage. We saw this for a very long time in one of the video teasers, so I think we can move on. The sixth image is a really cool one, even if it's simple. We get to see what it looks like when Bonnie is outside your door. I think this is a step up from the original in pretty much every way. Obviously, the model looks better. I think the angle looks better. I like that he's only partially visible because it makes it seem more like he's trying to sneak in. I just see this as another example of FNAF Plus being FNAF, but better. This is the same thing that we saw in 2014, but it's higher quality and it's definitely scarier. The seventh is just the gang on stage, and I'm just in love with this image. I would love to have this as like a poster. This is another one that really melts my heart, because it feels like the old FNAF, but it looks so gorgeous. These are the same three characters in the same location that honestly changed my life 8 years ago. Now, after all that time has passed, I'm seeing them again, and they look better than ever. This one is really special. The eighth screenshot is Chica in the East Hall, and it looks simply terrifying. Chica's weird left eye staring at you as the right one is just limp and looking down is really creepy. And this isn't something unique to this game, but the static look of the cameras is simply perfect. You see the perfect amount of details for it to be scary and mysterious. You can definitely identify the character, but there's still some eeriness to how much you are able to see. The ninth screenshot is the one that everyone's talking about, which is the image of Bonnie being in the office staring at you. Here's what I make of this. The camera is clearly in the middle of being flipped down, so this tells me that you will be able to see the animatronic in the office before they actually kill you. If that is true, I have mixed feelings. If this is done well, this could be truly terrifying and some fantastic imagery. However, if you can clearly see the character in front of you before the jump scare will not mean as much. It simply won't hit as hard as it would if you only had the idea that someone might be there. What I'm hoping for is that you will see this when you flip the camera down and then very quickly they will jump scare you. Regardless, I'm definitely excited for this. I think this is a really creepy and intriguing image. I just hope it's executed as well as it can be. In the 10th screenshot, we get a clearer look at Foxy in Pirate's Cove. This was shown briefly in the trailer, but this looks a lot more sharp, and it's honestly the best I could have asked for. Pirate's Cove looks excellent, and Foxy's positioning is the best it could be. He's visible, but he's not too far out. I like that you can see his hook just barely keeping the curtain open. It's a nice small detail. This is the best Pirate's Cove has ever looked, without a doubt. Second to last is this screenshot of Freddy. We actually looked at this back when I analyzed every FNAF Plus image teaser, because it was a GIF, however you want to say that damn word. We know from that image teaser that Freddy will have at least some movement when in this position. Also, the electrical room might be a new room for this location, but the placement on the map and Freddy's look obviously replicates Freddy in the East Hall corner in FNAF 1, which you likely remember is a pretty important position to be aware of. We already looked at this a few months back, so we can move on now. And finally, we have the outside of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. As you very likely remember, we see this in the beginning of Breaking and Entering. But this does leave me questioning if it will appear in the game or if it's just promotional work. Regardless, this is obviously stunning, and if it is just promotional work, I think it's really good for that purpose alone. But if it is in the game, I'm really interested to see how it will be. So we're finally done looking at videos and pictures, but this is of course an entire page for the game, so I would like to go over some of the details in the description and stuff like that. This Steam page will be linked in the description, so you can check it out by yourself if you'd like, but I'm going to go over the important and significant parts. Also, some of this has been public for a while, but I've never had a reason to talk about it, so some of this isn't brand new, but let's talk about it anyway. First, we're going to look at the answer to the simple question, what is FNAF Plus? A brand new take on Five Nights at Freddy's plus some more, featuring completely remade visuals, new character designs, remixed survival mechanics, new camera animations, expanded secrets and rare events, loads of bonus post-game content, and a new interpretation of the original story. A game built to surprise and scare both newcomers and veterans of the FNAF series alike. So this is pretty much what we all expected from the very beginning, but it's nice to have some definitive certainty on what FizzNum's going to be focusing on. We know that the mechanics are going to be original, and I'm also aware of the fact that FizzNum values FNAF's survival, tower defense-like mechanics. There will also be animations shown on the cameras, and I'm pretty interested in seeing that. I really want to see animations on the cameras, but I feel like there is a point where it would be too much, so I'm excited to see how well done they are. FizzNum is also very good with secrets. We've already seen that through the teasers of FNAF Plus alone, so I'm extremely excited to see what secrets will be in the game. I'm also unbelievably happy to see how much FizzNum is valuing bonus and post-game content. LEGO FNAF kind of tried to do its own thing, but I'm going to be real, they didn't do a very good job. Phil is a genius, so I'm excited to play through all the ridiculous content he has coming. Lastly, it's so nice to hear that it's an original story. I already knew that, but the clarity is so important. FNAF 1 to 3 had such a good story before it was destroyed, and Phil understands this so well, and I can't wait to see what kind of story he wants to implement into FNAF Plus. We're also provided a list of features, so we should go over that as well. There's the obvious stuff, like that it's a reimagining, what the visuals are like, the structure of the game, but then there are some new exciting parts. First, there's the detail that there will be unlockable add-ons to the custom nights. I have no idea what that means. I don't really understand how you would unlock additional features, but I'm just happy there are going to be add-ons at all. There's also going to be something called Plus Mode, which I'm guessing is either just a harder version of the game, or a version of the game with additional mechanics, therefore making it harder. This is Plus Mode in FNAF Plus, so I'm guessing it'll be the second one. There's also going to be unlockable trinkets for your office. I'm assuming it will be similar to FNAF 2, where there are preset challenges that give you small prizes. And as we discussed in the last video on FNAF Plus, there will be a lot of user options and customization. But the huge news is a pause button. Jesus Christ, it is finally happening. Lastly, there's one more thing I want to mention. There's a mature content description that you don't usually see with FNAF games. It has the regular "this game contains flashing lights, loud noises, and lots of jump scares," but it also has content warning, blood, fictional depictions of gore, mutilation, and other disturbing scenes. This has me very excited, but I'm still not going to get my hopes too high. I love that FNAF Plus is a gritty and darker version of the original FNAF, so having more graphic imagery is a really great thing in my eyes. But keep in mind, how much is Scott going to allow? I would expect not a lot, but the fact that it doesn't just say gore, it also says mutilation, is kind of telling. This doesn't just have blood and gore, it has mutilation. That certainly catches my attention. Maybe it's not good to be outrageously excited about this, but I very much am. That is all I have to say about this new FNAF Plus news. There isn't an official release date yet, but I'm going to say with confidence that this will be the last video on FNAF Plus before the game comes out. However, I did say that in the last video as well. I guess it's not unlikely that there will be one more trailer, so maybe this won't be the last. I can't say for sure. As you know, I am so unbelievably excited for this game to release. FNAF 2 is my personal favorite FNAF game, but FNAF 1 is a very close second, and it's obviously something special. The worst this game could be is a better looking FNAF 1, which is already something special. But Fiznum is a genius that understands what FNAF should be and how horror works, and I cannot wait to see what he has to show. That's going to be all from me. You can add FNAF Plus to your Steam wishlist, or just check out the page with the link in the description. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time.